Hey everybody, Maureen Folan here, Queen of Queens Real Estate Group. And I've got some news today that's going to change how you think about the real estate market. Because for the first time since I got my license at 18, Queens just crossed a threshold that nobody's talking about. We're approaching a balanced market. Now I know what you're thinking. Maureen, what does that even mean? What is a balanced market and why should I care? These are fair questions because the answer is this. If you're a buyer in Queens right now, you have more leverage than you've had in 6 years. But if you're a seller, the clock is ticking. Over 20 years and 1,600 homes sold, I've learned that markets don't change slowly, they flip. And we're in the middle of that flip right now. So stay with me because I'm gonna show you exactly what this means for your neighborhood, your price point, and your negotiating power. So what exactly is a balanced market? Let me start with the number that tells you everything you need to know. Queens currently has 5.8 months of inventory. If you've been following real estate at all over the past few years, you know that's huge. A few years ago, we were sitting at 2.5, 3 months top. That means 50 buyers chasing every house, multiple offers, bidding wars, and sellers writing their own tickets. Today, almost 6 months of inventory. That is balanced. That means there's actually something to choose from. It means a buyer can walk away if the house isn't right. It means a seller can't just put a sign in the ground and close their eyes and count their money. Now compare this to Nassau and Suffolk. They're still sitting at a 3-month level, 2.5 months, sometimes less. Long Island is still a seller's market, but Queens, we're in a different world right now. Let me give you the data straight. As of April 2026, the median estimated property value is $831,000. Those two numbers are sitting right on top of each other. That tells me that the market is realistic. Sellers are not dreaming and buyers are not panicking. Here's what else I'm seeing. The inventory is down 7.5% year over year, but it went up by 2.3% last month. That's movement. That's new supply hitting the market.
Hey, I wanted to share something for free. I prepared a home seller preparation checklist for residents of Queens and Long Island. This guide will give you everything you need to know about preparing your home for sale. So if you click on the link below in the comments, you'll download your own copy for free. Or if you visit maureenfolan.com, you'll be able to get your seller checklist there. So thank you so much, and let's get back to it.
For 6 years, I've watched inventory flatline. Now it's flowing again. And I'll be honest with you, that flow isn't because people suddenly want to move. It's because the rate lock-in effect. You know what that is. If you got a mortgage at 2.5% or 3% back in 2020, and you're looking at a new mortgage at 6.5%, the math doesn't work. You literally cannot afford to move. So people stay in place. They renovate their place and they've waited. But now something's shifting. Some of these homeowners are starting to test the market. Maybe they're retired, maybe their kids moved out, maybe they just decided the new kitchen isn't enough and they want a Long Island yard. So they're listing. And that's what's creating the inventory that we have not seen in years. Neighborhoods, Bayside, Flushing, Fresh Meadows. Now let's talk about where you probably live and where you're thinking about buying, because not all balanced markets are created equal. Bayside, this is where I'm seeing the most interesting action. You've got families, you've got space, you've got those tree-lined streets that make people actually want to slow down and look at the house. The inventory here went from practically nothing 2 years ago to a real choice, real options. What does that mean for a buyer? It means you can see 3 houses instead of 1. It means if a house has wrong kitchen or a weird layout, there's another one 2 blocks over. You can be selective, you can negotiate, you have leverage. Flushing is similar, but here's the difference. Flushing has always been dense, always been diverse, and always been where the action is. But now, with more inventory, you're seeing better values. That speculative bubble has softened just enough that you can actually find a house with fundamentals, good bones, good neighborhood, good schools, without paying the Queens premium on top of a Long Island premium on top of a pandemic pricing. And let's talk about Fresh Meadows. This one's interesting. It's where first-time buyers from Brooklyn are moving. They've got Queens money, they want space, and they're realizing they can get a whole house in Fresh Meadows for what they pay for a condo in Williamsburg. The balanced market here means there's actually room to negotiate a price and closing costs. A year ago, forget about it. So what this means for buyers, if you're thinking about buying in Queens right now, I'm gonna be straight with you. This is your moment. For 6 years, I've told buyers, all for asking, waive inspection, increase your down payment, write a love letter, do whatever it takes. because there are 40 people behind you ready to pay the same thing without those contingencies. That is not the market anymore, not in Queens. Right now, you can come in at 95% of asking on a house that's been sitting 30, 40, 50 days. You can ask for a home inspection, you can ask the seller to fix the roof or credit you for it. You can negotiate closing costs. You can actually breathe. And this is important. You have to be serious. You have to be ready because there are still buyers out there. The supply isn't infinite. You're not going to find homes sitting for 6 months waiting for you to make up your mind. The balanced market doesn't mean the slow market. It means there's more competition, but it's fair. If you're a first-time buyer from Brooklyn, this is when you move. If the math works right now, in 6 months when more people have this figured out, the math might look different. If you're a move-up buyer looking for that Bayside house, you actually have options now. You're not picking the least bad house anymore. You're picking the house you actually want. If you're an investor looking at 2 or 3 family, a balanced market means the cap rates start to make sense again. You can actually run the numbers and hit your targets without praying for appreciation. So what this means for sellers today, if you're thinking about selling, I need you to hear me clearly. This is not a collapse. The median price is holding at $826,000. Prices haven't fallen, and what has changed is urgency. And urgency is everything in real estate. For the last 6 years, buyers had urgency. They needed a house. They were scared of missing out. That fear made them do things. Overpay, waive inspections, accept bad conditions. Now, sellers have urgency because if your house is the most expensive, the oldest, the one with the bad foundation, it's going to sit. 30 days used to sound impossible. Now I'm seeing houses at 45, 60 days. What does that mean for your sale? If your house is in good condition, priced right, and ready to show, you'll sell fast with multiple offers, maybe not, but solid offers, quick closing, and that's the new market. If your house needs work, now is the time to do it. 2 years ago, you could sell a money pit for $850,000 if it had 4 walls and a roof. Today, you need to bring something, a roof, an HVAC that works, a kitchen that doesn't make buyers run screaming. If your house is overpriced, the market will punish you. Not dramatically, but you'll sit. You're sitting days on the market, it kills deals and it kills momentum. And in a balanced market, momentum is half the battle. So here's what I'm telling my sellers right now. Price aggressively, show your best house, move fast. If you're thinking about selling next year, list today because we're watching this market shift in real time. And by next year, we might be back to 3 months of inventory. We might be back to multiple offers. The balanced market window does not stay open forever. It closes as soon as supply tightens or the rates drop or the economy shifts. So if you're sitting on the fence, this is your time. So Queens versus Long Island, here's the real difference. I want to circle back to something because this is where the rubber hits the road. In Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk, they're still sitting at 2.5, sometimes 2 months of inventory. That is still a seller's market. That means if you're a seller in Huntington or Great Neck, you're going to get multiple offers. That is real. But here's the thing. If you're a buyer on Long Island, you're still in that tough spot. You're still competing. You're still seeing bidding wars on 1.2 million split level homes. Meanwhile, in Queens, we're here, we're balanced. That means if you're a buyer, you get the Bayside house. If you're a seller, you move it if it's right. Both sides have some wiggle room. Now, some of my Long Island clients ask me, Maureen, why would I move to Queens if Long Island is what I want? And that's a fair question. The answer is you probably shouldn't. If you want space, if you want your property taxes that are still lower than they'll be in 5 years, if you want a yard and a driveway and that suburban thing, Long Island is still the move. But if you're on a budget, if you want proximity to the city, and if you actually have a choice about which house you can live in instead of buying the first thing that hits the market, Queens is your play right now. The rate lock in effect, why inventory is finally moving. I want to spend a minute on this because it's everything. Between 2020 and 2022, millions of people locked in at mortgages at 2.5%, 3%, historic lows. And if you're one of those people and you got a 30-year mortgage, you're locked into that rate for 30 years, maybe longer if you want to refinance. Now let's say you want to move. You got to get a new mortgage at 6.5% on an $800,000. That's a $400 a month payment difference compared to your locked in rate. Now over 30 years, that's $144,000. Not surprising that people sit. But here's what's happening now. Some of those people have life changes. Kids going to college, retirement, divorce, or job loss. Life doesn't stop because rates are bad. So if they're starting to move, they're taking the rate hit because they have to. And that's bringing supply. This will not last forever. Eventually, inventory inventory will tighten again. But right now, in the summer of 2026, we're in a sweet spot. And the people who see it and move on it, they're going to benefit. So what you should do right now if you're a buyer, you should get pre-approved, not pre-qualified, pre-approved with verification, documentation, everything locked in. Because when you see the house, you're going to move fast. You have leverage now, but leverage disappears when someone else shows up with a clean offer. So you want to search actively. Look in Bayside, look in Flushing, look in Fresh Meadows, look at the neighborhoods that you thought were out of reach. Right now, you may actually be able to afford the house. Negotiate, ask for inspections, ask for credits, ask for closing costs help. The worst thing that happens right now is that a seller could say no, but right now they might say yes. So if you're a seller, you want to price it right for the first time. Run the comps, be honest about the condition. You're not going to get away with overpricing anymore. The market will punish you within days of listing. So fix what matters. The roof, the HVAC, the foundation, the kitchen, these are all non-negotiables. If your foundation is questionable, you need to know that before you list. If your roof is 25 years old, replace it or credit it. List now, don't wait for the fall market. Don't wait for rates to drop. The fall market is going to be uglier because more inventory will have hit, and rates, they're not dropping this year. So prepare to show. This is not a rental market where people are desperate to move in the dark. This is a choice market. Buyers have options. Your house needs to be like a showroom. Let's talk about the next 12 months. I'm not a fortune teller and I don't do predictions, but I do track data. And I've sold over 1,600 homes in my real estate career, and I've seen every market cycle. And here's what I see coming. Inventory will likely stay elevated for the next 4 to 6 months. Not dramatically elevated, but elevated. That keeps this balanced market intact. Rates will stay where they are, not lower, probably not much higher. That means the financing picture doesn't change either. Prices will likely stay flat to slightly up, maybe 1 to 2% appreciation. That's a healthy market, not a speculative one. By next spring, we might be back to a seller's market condition as inventory normalizes. Spring always brings more supply. So here's my real advice. If you're a buyer and you've been waiting, don't wait much longer. This window might be 6 months and then it closes. If you're a seller and you want to move, do it now while you can actually negotiate. By next year, we might be all back to bidding wars. So in closing, I built a career on telling people the truth about real estate in Queens. I don't sugarcoat it. I don't get emotional. I look at the data and I tell you what it is. Right now, the data says we're in a balanced market. Bayside, Flushing, Fresh Meadows are entering a season where both buyers and sellers have some control of the outcome. That's rare, and that does not happen often. So if you're thinking about making a move, the time is now. Not next month, not next spring, now. I'm Maureen Folan, the Queen of Queens, and I built my reputation on getting people the best deal possible in the market. So if you want to know what your house is worth and what house you can afford, what your next move should be, that's exactly what I do. Drop your questions in the comments. I read them, I answer them, and if you want to work together, you know where to find me. Thanks for watching, and remember, in real estate, timing is everything, and your time is now.